Thanksgiving had barely begun when Iris leaned back in her chair, twirled her wine, and said it loud enough for the whole table to hear. Still single, Lotus. At 34? That's rough. No whisper. No hesitation. A clean, intentional strike. Mom froze. Dad stared at his plate. Nobody defended me again. I set my fork down and felt years of swallowed hurt crystallize into something sharper. I wouldn't worry about me, I said quietly. I'm married. Silence. Even the hallway clock seemed to stop. They didn't know it yet, but that one sentence was about to rip our perfect on-paper family wide open. I grew up in that house, same creaking floors, same photos in the hallway, same pine-scented candles. Mom used to pretend everything was perfect. But perfection only works from far away. Up close, the cracks were obvious. Conversations always drifted toward Iris. Dad disappeared at the first hint of conflict. Mom's smile softened only when her younger daughter walked into the room. I used to think I imagined it. Kids do that, rewrite the story to survive. But as I got older, the pattern sharpened. My milestones were minimized. Hers were celebrated like national holidays. When they forgot my college graduation, Iris had a sorority event. My birthday dinner, skipped twice. Iris was touring wedding venues. When I bought my condo alone, I sent photos. They barely responded. Still, every holiday, I drove 4 hours home, pies, gifts, flowers, hoping maybe this time would be different. Evan would tell me, "You don't have to earn a place that should already be yours." But I always wondered if maybe I did. Walking into the house that afternoon, the air felt tight. Mom hugged me with one arm while stirring gravy. "Lotus, sweetheart, you made it." No question about my drive, my life, my job. Her next sentence was already about Iris's honeymoon. Dad gave me a tired smile. The fridge was covered in Iris's wedding photos, practically a shrine. Mine? Not a single one. 8 months since I sent the invitations. 8 months of silence. Mom glanced at me only to ask, "You brought the cranberry sauce, right?" Of course I had. That was my role, show up, contribute, stay invisible. A sinking thought hit me. This was the first holiday where I wasn't sure why I'd come at all. Iris arrived 20 minutes late, clicking across the hardwood like she owned it. She kissed Mom, squeezed Dad, then tossed me a nod, the kind you give a distant coworker whose name you can't recall. Partners don't get holidays off, she bragged about Colin. Mom beamed. That's what happens when you marry someone successful. It wasn't aimed at me, but I caught it anyway. We moved to the table, and even before dinner began, the hierarchy was set. Iris at the center. Me in the background. For the first time, I felt the words around me not sinking in, but hovering, looking for somewhere else to land. Dinner was heavy, not the food, the air. Iris performed her usual routine, voice loud and shining. Mom kept steering every topic back to her. Dad added quiet, MMHMS, afraid of speaking out of turn. Then Iris looked at me. "So, Lotus," she said sweetly, stretching my name like taffy. "At 34, still being single, is that a choice now?" Mom inhaled. Colin paused. Even Dad looked up. Something inside me clicked into place. "That's interesting," I said. "Why do you assume I'm single?" She blinked. "Well, aren't you?" I set down my napkin. "I'm married." The room froze. Iris laughed, short, sharp. "To who?" I didn't answer. The impact wasn't in the details, it was in the reveal. Mom leaned forward. "Lotus, darling, if you were married, you would have told us." "I did," I said. "No, honey. I did. 8 months ago." Confusion. Then denial. Then fear. Iris scoffed. "We never got anything. Not an invite. Not a call." "You didn't get them," I said, "because someone made sure you wouldn't." Her face twitched. I placed my phone on the table. Dad swallowed. "Lotus, what are you talking about?" I opened the first file. "The invitations," I said. "Delivered. Signed for. By this house." I zoomed in. The signature was unmistakable. Iris. Her smile cracked. "That proves nothing," she snapped. "Delivery people make mistakes." "They didn't," I replied. I confirmed it. Silence tightened around the table. Next screen, email logs. Electronic invitations. Opened from this house's IP. Then deleted. Mom whispered, maybe your father. I didn't, Dad said suddenly. I don't even check that inbox. Mom froze, then turned slowly to Iris. Iris, sweetheart, do you know anything about this? No, she lied, eyes betraying her. Next file, call logs. I called on May 4th, May 11th, May 18th, May 20th, May 25th. Voicemails. Texts. Even the family group chat. Dad blinked. Group chat? I'm not in a group chat. You were, I said. Until someone removed me. That broke something. Mom's voice shook. Iris. Iris slammed her palms on the table. Why are you attacking me? Because your life isn't exciting as mine. I almost laughed at the familiarity. You made sure my wedding happened without my family, I said calmly. I didn't throw them away, she snapped. I just kept them from distracting everyone. It was MY year. My chest tightened, but not with hurt. With clarity. So mine didn't count, I whispered. She met my eyes. No. Mom gasped. Dad looked sick. Colin stared at his wife, like seeing her for the first time. I'm not jealous of you, I said. I'm hurt. And I'm done pretending it doesn't matter. I pushed back my chair. The sound sliced the room open. Where are you going? Mom asked, panicked. Away, I said. From a table where I've been invisible my whole life. Dad reached out. Lotus, wait. I waited 8 months. I walked out. Iris's voice cracked behind me. You ruined Thanksgiving. No, I said. You ruined my wedding. This is just the truth catching up. The house felt cold as I walked past the mirror, the photos, the history of every version of me trying to belong. Outside, the night air felt like freedom. On my drive back to Seattle, the silence didn't hurt. It healed. When I stepped into our apartment, Evan wrapped his arms around me. It finally happened, I whispered. And you finally said what needed to be said, he answered. In the days after, Dad called, quietly, gently, honestly. Iris emailed a long apology that sounded forced out of her by therapy. I didn't reply. Mom stayed silent. For once, her silence didn't crush me. It clarified everything. Evan's family invited us to their Thanksgiving. People asked about me, my work, my life. They saw me. And I realized something deeply simple. This felt like home. In the weeks that followed, the ache softened. Not into forgiveness. Not yet. But into understanding. I wasn't the forgotten daughter anymore. I was someone who finally chose her own peace. If you've ever had to walk away to protect your heart, you're not alone. Tell me where you're listening from and share your story below. And if this one stayed with you, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next.